Hi, I'm Ryan, and welcome to my coding bootcamp journey. In this series, I will share my experiences as I learned to code through Flatiron School's web development program. If you know anyone that would enjoy this series, please send them to the link at the bottom of your screen. All right, what is new this week? So last week we got into SQL, and this week we got into object-relational mapping, which is how you interact with SQL tables by using Ruby itself. Granted, Ruby's not the only language where you can use object relational mapping, but yeah, last week we just learned the basics of how to run queries and how to set up different tables that have relations to each other and that kind of thing. And now this week we tied it in how to do it through a Ruby program. So yeah, that's what we got into this week. And with struggles, it was specifically with a lab to do meta programming, which is meta. It's well, the way that they describe it is writing code that writes other code. I'm not sure that's a real good way to explain it, but it's writing code that's portable, that you can use to it's not specific to the use case that you're writing it for. It so it has more like general references, so it's not tied to the data that you're working with in whatever particular application that you're using it in. So that's kind like again, it's a practice of not repeating yourself, essentially, where you can just write out a structure that you can essentially copy and use in other applications. So that's what I felt like I needed to explain that, and my struggle had to do with with a couple of the labs that when the tests were written, they were using an earlier version of one of the SQLite gem there were some apparently when they wrote the tests that we were using, the SQLite gem would spit out some additional data that they apparently fixed in the current version. So yeah, so yeah, there was a bit of hand wringing with that one. It was like, wait a second, where is this data coming in through? It's like it's not coming through in any of the other previous tests that this particular method depended upon. So yeah, after some research with the ask a question with one of the technical coaches, and so yeah, I was able to work through it. But so yeah, that was my big struggle this week. And victories. Well, one big victory is the connections that I've made at the new co-working space, and it's interesting. Over the last week, I've had social conversations with more people smaller space than I did in the month and a half that I was at the previous location, because everybody was just so siloed at the last space that there wasn't really much like cross conversations happening. And plus, as I mentioned in the last video, the smaller space kind of fits someone with my kind of introverted personality. It's really helped me come out of my shell a bit. That was I met someone that is in a startup that they're helping mentor, someone who had just graduated from Flatiron School. And so I had heard, some here and there, some little some jargon and terms, and that I was like, wait a second, that sounds familiar. It's like, wait, you mentioned SQL and wait, object, and but they were always so they're always so busy. I didn't quite feel right, talking to them, but they were out in the hot desk area this morning, just chatting, and so I joined in, and so that's happening. And this was really the first week where I was able to get some like real data for as far as my time management is concerned. I started doing it during the first project week, and last week last week I was changing co-working spaces, and so with project week I don't know, it's not like we don't. Most of the time we're not working on projects. We're going through lessons and labs, and so how I manage my time's a little bit different. So so this was really the first week where I had like a regular cadence, as it were. Where I'm not having to troubleshoot a poor internet connection, or what have you. I'm very, very excited about that, where I can actually start to get some real data on it, and be able to be able to and start to optimize a bit. But when you're dealing with the past 3 weeks in terms of time management has very, very much been an edge case, and those are kind of difficult to troubleshoot, and so and I mean, in terms of really getting a handle on where I need to optimize in terms of my time management. I would definitely call that a victory. And what am I looking forward to? Well, every week the cohort lead has a couple, does two study groups. One kind of earlier in the week in the afternoon. One later in the evening or later in the week. Normally he either covers a really difficult lab, or something that's pertinent to what we're studying that week. And we didn't touch active record at all, but that's what he covered. And active record is a from what I could glean during the study group, it's a library that does all of the back end stuff as far as like talking interacting with SQL. And I'm actually glad that they didn't start with active record, that we kind of went the manual direction. Honestly, I would be really frustrated if all we did was active record, because then it's just this black box that does all this magic, and yeah, here's how you interact with it. Well, as a as someone that likes to tinker, I mean, I mean, I've used Arch Linux, which is very much a build it yourself distribution. So I would be dirt. I mean, if we just went into active record and didn't the go into the tasks of what you'd have to do in order to manually interact with SQL, then I mean, if we did it that way, I mean, I would have been totally frustrated. I've been like, okay, what the heck is this doing? What's in this black box, and how does it work? And then it was like, okay, here's how you manually interact with SQL. It's like, well, why didn't you just start with that? Yeah. A a little hypothetical conversation I'm having here. So yeah, looks like we will be going into active record relatively soon, just based on that. I'm not sure if it's next week because I don't have access to that curriculum, but but yeah, I'm very even though I do know how to do it manually, I'm very much looking forward to using active record, because then I can just move on to other things, and just it's like, oh, okay, here's a shortcut way to do it, and and I can, and then I have the manual the manual way of doing things as a fallback. So yeah, that's everything that I have this week. So I do thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to date, please like and subscribe. Feel free to check out the rest of this series. And if you do have any comments or questions, please post them below. And I'll see you in the next chapter.